G'day folks, and welcome to another episode of the New and Improved Breakdown for 2019, brought to you by Newstead Brewing, where we're here filming today. My name's Brendan Sauce Hotel from Queensland Rugby, and joining me is commentary regular Jay Staunton and East Stalwell, Tom Milosevic. Gents, how are we this afternoon?
Yeah, great Sauce.
Living the dream, Sauce.
Alright, well, round 4 of Queensland Premier Rugby brought plenty of big results. Let's dive into it with the match of the round between East and Bond. Tommy, obviously, the Tigers got up there in a narrow one, 32-28. You guys came out of the blocks firing that first 20, and then Bond came back into that match, especially the later end of that first half. Talk us through what happened there.
Mate, it was always hard to travel down to Bond and beat them at home, coming off the drive. But yeah, definitely we came out hard in the first 20-25 minutes, scoring two pretty easy tries, and then credit to the Bond boys. They came back and they put us at the sword. We probably came off the pace a little bit after that first 25 minutes. And they capitalised, scoring two easy set-piece tries, 68 long range. Going forward, we had to grind out that win. We really had to work for that one. Our set-piece probably working overtime there with a couple scrum penalties, and fortunate enough to get us in some good positions to score some tries. And credit to the Bond boys, they're going to be a force this year in 2019.
Tommy, you talk about set piece there, mate. Obviously, Carter Ozane, Aaron Srinimi really went to work there late in the second half, forcing a few scrum penalties. Just how much pride do the Tiger boys take in their set piece work?
Mate, set piece is huge with us in 2019, going previous with Paddy Richards. But yeah, this year boys are always at training doing extras. We're probably back doing another 20 minutes after the backs leave, doing line-outs after the training on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And that's just something a precedent that was set in our pre-season camp when Simon Craig asked the boys if they'd be happy to come back and do scrums or line-outs after training, and everyone kind of gave him that look like, stuff yourself, Craigie. But we've just been verbalising that quietly behind his back since camp.
Now, Jay, mate, you've always been a big fan of Tigers captain Matty Gordon and the centres. How much of an impact did he have on this match?
He was absolutely massive. He picked up those two early tries. He really sets a precedent for how the Tigers go. If he's off his game, it's hard for them to get good front football because he is the catalyst both with ball in hand and without. Seru, I think, got man of the match, and he was absolutely massive. But on the other side of the coin, some of the Bond guys really didn't stand up. Harry Safora was off with the boot. Mies Erasmus got absolutely munted in the scrum on occasion. And they were really expecting him to be really good at set piece. So I think it was one of those days where East were really able to grind out a win and do it well. And Bond, if they were able to kick their penalties and get their conversions and those extra points and maybe get a few battles here and there, they'd probably come away with the W.
It wasn't just a big moment for the Prem guys coming around with the win this weekend, was it, Sauce? Big Saucy found himself on the reserve grade bench, but what'd you end up doing?
I ended up running touch, mate.
What a stitch-up.
It's a long drive home, I imagine.
It's a real highlight to get the devil in one mate and pick up the touchy flag. So, moving on to our next match, West v UQ, obviously a massive win for the Doggies, getting up 70-21. Jay, when was the last time you could recall UQ getting 70 points put on them, let alone by the Doggies?
Mate, to be really honest, it totally escapes me right now, especially against the Doggies. They're usually really hard-fought affairs, but for the Doggies to absolutely give them a pizzling like that is absolutely huge.
And, as we mentioned, mate, absolute pizzling. But, a couple of young fellas, mate, that really stood out. Carter Gordon set up a couple of tries, scored a couple himself. Isaac Henry, 10 from 10 with the boot, mate. How impressed you with the young fellas coming in the Prem grade side?
Mate, they're absolutely unbelievable. And, Carter Gordon's only 18 years old. He's picked up 3 tries on the weekend and been close to the best fly half in the competition. And then Isaac Henry, as I said, 10 from 10. Coming through the Colts system last year, he's taken that Premier grade role so well. Yeah. And this West team is looking red hot. And it's based almost solely around some of these younger guys. So for them to be able to do that is absolutely massive.
All right, now, Tommy, from a player perspective, mate, watching from the side, obviously you guys played West in a trial game. Who have you been impressed with so far out of that, the Bulldog side?
Mate, I think much like the same as Matt Gordon gets our team going forward, Jerry Lynch does that same thing for Wests. And I think just their forward pack in general, they've got a big forward pack, they're mobile, they're getting around the corner. They're doing some work and they're freeing up, like Jay was saying, freeing up those young fellas in the back line to do their thing and do what they do best. But yeah, West are going to be a real hot shout this year.
Now, Jay, mate, it wasn't just Prem grade that were on fire on the weekend, mate. The clean sweep throughout the grades over UQ, mate. You don't hear about that very often.
No, not at all. It's a very big anomaly for that to be able to come to fruition, especially against UQ. But I think that just goes to show that West is really a club on the rise. Over the last few years, they've shown that through their cult system, and it's starting to trickle down. But then also, I think it might be a bit of an indictment, I guess you could say, against UQ, that I don't think they're as strong as they have been in previous years across all their grades. So, it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from this. UQ usually do bounce back from things like this pretty well, but at the end of the day, West are a club on the rise, that's for sure.
Moving on to the next match, Brothers v Norths. Brothers getting up 61 to 14. Jay, this one played out as we probably expected.
Yeah, look, it was relatively close 20-odd minutes in. I think they were only up 2 tries to 0. But then after that final 60 was all Brothers. It was one-way traffic. Norths pretty much didn't fire a shot, and I think Brothers are well and truly 100% the team to beat this year.
Mate, Rowan Cypher, did you really see him into that 10 roll there for you?
Yeah, very much so. He's a very cool, calm, collected sort of player. When you've got guys like Lawson Crichton, Stixie outside him, guys that themselves are actually sort of ball players, it can somewhat get a bit congested there when you've got so many guys looking to swing the pill, but everybody's playing their role brilliantly. I think Stixie's really starting to develop his own game into a bit more of a second five. And Lawson Crichton was unbelievable on the weekend at fullback. And Seb Wyman, he's an absolute gun. So they've got all the makings to be red hot for the remainder of the season.
And Tommy, from your perspective, mate, obviously East haven't played Brothers yet, mate, but what have you made of their start of the season?
Mate, I didn't know what to think of Brothers at the start of the season, to be fair, going off previous year's results, but I've been very pleasantly surprised looking at the side. It's a young team, and they're out there doing their thing, and we're definitely been watching their game tape going into that Souths game. Souths Brothers, I think that's a big one for us. It's going to unlock a few keys going forward to beat Souths. The Brothers team, they're red hot at the moment, and they'll be there at the back end of the season.
Right now, obviously, we're moving into the period now, boys, where the under-20s lads have to go away for the Oceania tournament and then the under-20s World Cup. Brothers are probably going to have the biggest impact with some 4 blokes from their forward pack. Talk us through who they're going to be without, Jack.
So they'll be without Harry Wilson, Fraser McWright, Liam Usher and Michael Wood. So a lot of people are looking at Western Brothers and saying how many points they're scoring, how well they're doing, but it's their forward packs that are getting them over the line. The Brothers forward pack's been close to the best over the first 4 weeks, and West, as you said, Tommy, have really flown under the radar. They've got players in career best form at the moment, so that could be a real hit to them, but they've definitely got some cattle that can come up and step into that role pretty well. So I think they'll be all right, but this might be the period where some teams might be able to get one up on Brothers.
Tommy, you probably experienced this at East to a degree, mate, with guys like Isaac Rodder, Liam Wright, Michael Gunn, Giassiata missing over the last sort of few seasons through rep duties. How do you go about that as a forward pack, sort of covering for the loss of those blokes?
I think it's always hard when you lose a bloke who's been firing for your team, especially in a key role. When you look, if you lose someone in your front row, maybe if you lose your hooker, or even if you've got a big ball carrying back rower that drops out of the side, you just got to hope that the bloke who's coming up, normally it's a guy who's playing reserve grade who has just given up his position to this guy, so they're generally pretty well suited to coming into the side. But yeah, you just look to those guys coming in to really step up and fire when called upon, and 9 times out of 10 it happens. So I don't think it's going to be huge for those teams losing those guys, because they will have people coming in to replace them who have been there and done it before. But yeah, it's definitely an opportunity for some of the teams to get a win they may not have normally gotten.
So moving on to the 4th and final game, GPS v South. Galpers got up 24-12. Jay, what did you take out of this game?
Mate, to be brutally honest, it wasn't the greatest game of footy. Jeeps are well off the pace. As we said last week, they still haven't really bounced back as well as they should have after cleaning up that Australian Club Championship. And for South, look, unfortunately, they're playing a very disjointed brand of footy, which sometimes works for them, but a lot of the time, if it isn't firing, it just doesn't work. And they haven't really fired a shot, and unfortunately, it looks like if they keep this up, they might be towards the bottom end of the table. But for Jeeps, they're starting to work their way back into it. You can see glimpses of it, and I think they will start to kick on as the season progresses.
So Tommy, obviously East played Jeeps a couple of weeks ago, mate, and you guys got up with a 1 point win. What did you make of the Gallagher's, mate, in your first match?
Mate, they're a good team. They're big, they're physical, and they're clinical, and that's Jeeps in a nutshell. A team with a good experience too, so they're probably one of the only teams with two blokes running around in their 30s. Gormo, he'd be nearly 40, and Kingy's over 35. But yeah, so when you've got that kind of experience, and they're a team of winners too, winning the Oz Club champs in the Hospital Cup last year, they're going to be there at the back end of the season. They're a good side, and they're going to be tough going forward. I think against South, maybe they probably just had an off day, but they're winners, and that's what winners do. They still came away with the win over Souths. Souths too, they're a team that can beat anyone on their day, but they just need to, like Jay was saying, they just need to link. They need to be together. And it's a hard team. It's probably one of the hardest teams to verse when they're on, because then they'll just pull a try from 90 metres out, and you go, where did that come from? So if the Souths can gel, they're going to be a weapon as well.
Speaking of South, you guys played them, mate, after the Easter bye.
Yeah.
Obviously a big rivalry, mate, between two clubs who are in pretty close proximity.
Yeah.
How pumped are the boys for that clash?
The boys are right up for it. I think, maybe not more than any other game. We take the same sort of intensity into every single game, but with Souths, I think there's probably a bit of special meaning this year when we've pinched their coach from last year. Mudge has come over to East, and he's doing a great job with us. He's great for culture. He's great for the club, being an ex-Eastie himself. But yeah, so we're really pumped for this game going forward. We're going to have a week off for Easter, refresh, and then run into the rest of the season, because we won't get a break for another 10 weeks following that.
So, no footy being played this weekend with the Easter bye, and then we're back for round 5 with a couple of interesting matchups. First up, Sunnybank Big Brothers. Where do you see that one headed, mate?
Honestly, I mean, despite the fact that Solmac Oval, I think Sunnybank are going to get absolutely pumped. Brothers are too good this year. They've got too much class. Granted, they're going to be out with a few of their Oz under-20s, but I just see them being too good.
North v UQ up at Kedron, Tommy. Interesting clash there, mate, with two teams coming off some pretty heavy losses.
No, I've got to give it to UQ. I think they're just too good of a side to lose that one out there. North's being a dangerous side, UQ coming off the loss, they're going to be right up for it. I think UQ will come away with that, but I think it's going to be close.
I'm back at North in that one, actually. Yeah, I think if they've got Matty McGann back, Nick Chapman, Connor Chittenden, if they can fire and Uni is stung, they could be.
That's a fair point.
For a big day.
Obviously, East v South, you got two Tigers here, mate, so we'll go for you for an impartial view, mate. Where do you see that one heading?
Tigers, 100%. I reckon they're just going to be too good. They're going to be a top 3 or 4 side this year. That said, it's a local derby. Anything can happen.
Mate, I think we're going to be hard to beat with our 16th man as well. That crowd's going to be firing. First home game after a few away. Oh, no.
Touch.
Alright, so the final match, Jeeps v West. You'll be excited for this one, mate. Another West Side derby for the doggies, mate. Where do you see that one heading?
Mate, this is going to be an absolute humdinger. You don't get too many matches at Jeeps where it's an easy trot, and I expect it to be the same. West are going to be up for this one in a big way, though. But expect a big match. I think the doggies, honestly, they're just playing too good a footy, and Jeeps haven't been great, but I think if there's ever a game where Jeeps are going to stand up, it's this one. The Glue Factory will be going absolutely burgo.
Alright, folks, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining me, Jay and Tom.
Thanks, Saucy.
You love it, Sauce.
Oh, thank you, I do. Now, folks, as we mentioned, no footy on this weekend with the Easter break. Enjoy some time off, but come round 5, make sure you get out and support your Queensland Premier Rugby Club. But if you can't make it to a game, stress less. We got all 4 games streamed live and free via redsrugby.com.au. In the meantime, keep an eye out for more club footy content via the QPR Facebook page.